Hey everybody, this is Jim.
And this is Mike.
And we are on show number 20.
Yay.
And this is what we're calling our summer series. This is side 3, if there were 3 sides.
The third half. Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember, what was it, Genesis? 3 sides live?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're looking at some music news today. Going to explore some new people, some new musicians, and starting out with music news.
Yeah, we got a full show. We got new bands we're talking about, top 10. I'm going to quiz Mike on 3 stories, one of which is false. Mm-hmm. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. I've taken the Prevagen. I've got everything I need.
Yeah.
So, Jim, what are we drinking tonight here? What is this?
We have a new beer. Mm-hmm. It's orange cream.
Like those dreamsicles.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And it's, if I say this right, Zigmeister. It's C-Z-I-G.
Zigmeister.
I just got this, and it's actually from a nearby brewery.
Oh.
Hackettstown.
NJ.
Now, Hackettstown is about 20 minutes from here.
Here's the pass.
There we go.
All right.
I'm going to take my first sip.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's good. It's beer, a little orange, creamsicle.
Yeah, it's like a creamsicle in San Miguel.
Yeah, I don't like them too sweet.
Yeah.
You know. So what are we going to start with?
Well, Jim, I was thinking starting with letters from our listeners. Way back years ago, people would actually write on paper with pen, and they'd write letters, Yeah. Maybe even call on an old phone too. Anyway, I'm calling it letters. These are like, of course, electronic. So we got several in the last month, but I just pulled out
several more than we got last month.
Yeah, it is.
Month before.
It's something new,
Okay.
And just pulling out 2 that need a response. Jim and Mike, thanks, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. But then it says, do you think you could do an expose on some New Jersey bands? And then it says, like Bon Jovi.
What?
That's what they're asking for. And I don't know where that came from. And we have done New Jersey bands. We've got the Smithereens, right?
Yeah.
We've got Jim Babchek interviewed both the brothers in the band from the Gripweeds, New Jersey band, right?
Yeah.
Did Claude ever live in Jersey?
Yes, he lived in Patterson.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, from Anything Box.
Yeah. So, I just looked at this and I said expose, which means there's something to expose.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering what it could be. I mean, what could you actually expose that's not already known about John Bon Jovi and the band?
I know. I think we know everything.
Yeah. Lest you forget his band. Not just John. They're not just asking about John. It's the band. They specifically... Oh. Yeah, the whole band, all of them. Yeah, I
don't know if we do a whole podcast on Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
There is a lot there.
Would it hurt ratings, though? I mean, just throwing that idea out. I'm not sure.
I don't know. There's still a lot of Bon Jovi fans out there. And just the other day, believe it or not, again, in the shower... I heard "Living on a Prayer."
Did you actually literally heard it, or it was in your head? I mean,
no, I heard it.
Okay. Yeah, I just you've got one of those weatherproof radios, right? I mean, that's actually how you heard it while you're in your shower.
Yeah, it's a little radio that hangs in the shower.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know I repeated this before. Local station. They have about 20 songs, and one happens to be Bon Jovi.
Living without hair. I mean, living on a prayer.
Yeah. Now, we'll actually give out our email.
Yeah.
It's
sure.
jimandmikepodcast@gmail.com.
Very good.
So we're going to go on to music news.
Yeah, let's do some news for our listeners. Let's get them caught up to speed.
There's a museum opening up in Ambridge. It's a music museum.
Ambridge. Where is Ambridge?
Ambridge is... near Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And it's actually 5 hours and 22 minutes from here.
Shorter if you live near Pittsburgh. Yeah. And
I got this out of the Beaver County Times. Scott Taddy, T-A-D-Y, wrote this. And this is a museum for Western Pennsylvania artists.
Cool.
So the museum is called the Performing Arts Legend Museum. And it says it's slated to open July 2nd. So... I should have checked, but I assume it's open. It's tucked into a historic 220-year-old brick house, 2 blocks from Old Economy Village, and they call it PALM, Performing Arts Legends Museum for short. and it's a treasure trove of musical artifacts from many of the region's best known and most influential musical artists. And some things in there, it's a stage-worn outfit worn by Turtle Creek's The Vogues, and it says it joins Elvis Presley memorabilia.
Wow. So
don't think Elvis was, had anything to do with Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So they got other things in there.
Probably started with a big fan of Elvis and then just went into other museum artifacts. Yeah, because it would include the King there as well. That's interesting.
And there's a vintage drum collection in one room.
Oh, cool.
And the founder is L.B. Jaworski. There's almost 300 artifacts, gold records, signed photos, 45 LPs, CDs framed and signed. So a little bit of everything. Him and his wife, they invested over $250,000 into the complex. And it also includes a second floor artist in residence accommodations. It has an attached garage tricked out into a modern performance studio. And it also doubles as the rehearsal space for Jaworski's band, Hot Metal Horns.
Wow. Wonder if it's a horn section along with some other instruments, some rock. I'd like to see the classic or vintage drum collection. That would be cool. I think I'd like to contact them, add my drum set, add my 66 Premier Red Sparkle kit to their selection. I think I'm going to
call them up.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
So there's various rooms. There's a 1950s room, includes items like Elvis Presley's yearbook, Perry Como gold records for Hot Diggity, Dog Diggity Boom, and Round and Round. I thought that was a Rat song.
Round and round. What comes around goes around.
Okay. And an authentic 50s diner booth, straight out of TV's Happy Days. Oh. I don't think it's from Happy Days.
No, it could be. Oh, maybe. Straight out of. No, they're just alluding to it. Yeah.
And then one last thing, the owner, he's a drum aficionado.
Yeah.
He displays a collection of drums that includes a set from the 1950s, 1983 black 9-ply maple pearl GL6 six-piece drum kit for all you drum heads out there, valued at over $20,000.
Yeah, I think my 66 Premier from Made in England will fit right into that 50s and the 90s. Yeah. I can see that.
Call them up.
I can see that. It's for sale if you're listening.
To get you a number.
Yeah. All right, next to music news. Handing Jim a photo here. This is Emily Geller Hardman, 35 years old. Just a picture of her breastfeeding right there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sweet. So, we go full range here with musical styles. We rock, it's just the full range from rap. They're trying, rap is trying to, Anyway, this woman is an opera singer. She attended a wedding in Lancaster, Pennsylvania with her husband, Travis Hardman. It was far enough away from her due date that she thought she'd be safe, but no, she wasn't. This was a first-time labor for her, and she knew first-time labors, with the first child. She knew they'd be 16 to 24 hours. Well, the wedding was over. They're driving home the next morning, and she starts to go into labor. So she's in the back seat. Okay, they're driving to middle of New York State somewhere from Lancaster, PA, and she's in the back seat, and she can feel the contractions and such. And she's on the Gentle Birth meditation app. And she's guiding herself through breathing while her husband continues to drive. So around 5:30 in the morning, they pull off the side of the road. That's good. And so she gets up so she can stand and stretch a little bit. Well, she says, quote, "Gravity took over and it hit me hard." So she jumps in the back seat again, and they're going along, and she's trying to resist giving birth there in the back seat. She's got her and then they're looking for a place to pull over. Okay, so she's trying to stay calm. She's trying to remain calm. There's nowhere to safely pull over. So her husband is just driving, and there's no place to pull over.
And Bon Jovi shows up?
No, Bon Jovi is not involved. Quote, "We're still driving, and her entire body just flies out in one contraction." End quote. Yeah, so boom, the baby just comes right out there. So it's pretty impressive. She says that her experience wasn't stressful. She says that as an opera singer, she's used to high-stress situations and believes that the experience, in addition to all the work that she put into it, helped her handle everything as smoothly as possible. So there we have an opera singer, music news, giving birth in the backseat of her car, 35 years old, and doing it quite well, just giving, no one's helping her. She gave birth by herself in the backseat.
And it didn't take that long.
No, it was quick. It was right.
Now my wife, she had a really short labor. Yeah. It was like 2 hours.
Wow, that's great.
And I know some people have
a whole 24
30.
hours. Yeah. And so I think it's interesting because she was fighting it for so long. She was trying to hold it off, and then boom.
Wow.
What's next, Jim?
I have a story about Willie Nelson.
Oh, cool.
His 2021 tour, it could be his last.
Well, we all know that it could be his last. I mean, that's a given.
Well, anytime,
Yeah, but you're saying he's thinking it could be his last.
So is he planning his farewell tour? And it's called, I think the tour is actually called On the Road Again One Last Time.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah. And according to the National Enquirer, Nelson is hitting the road for the last time. He's 88. He's eager to get back touring because this will be his last time. A friend says he's had bouts with emphysema, had to cancel a slew of shows because of complications that came with age. I have to say, when Mike and I saw Willie, I only seen him once, and it was at Farm Aid in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
I believe it was 2012.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And Grace Potter was there, and John Cougar. I remember Willie came out to do a duet. I think it was with Grace Potter. And I don't know, he didn't really, I don't know if he sang, like he didn't look good then, and that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. I remember thinking that he appeared less energetic, and also it was 11 o'clock at night, or was that was Neil Young?
No, Willie was a headliner.
Yeah.
Fans of Nelson are well aware they can't tour forever, and some sources say that this is not his last tour. A rep for Nelson denied this story. I think Willie stated that this could be his last, so who knows? Check out Willie Nelson's upcoming tour. I love Willie. Believe it or not, Willie Nelson has, I'm not lying, like 70 albums.
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed that.
And I think all of them are on Apple Music.
I would have guessed half of that.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And his son, Lucas, is active. We've talked about him before.
Yeah.
Very active if you're interested in that. Lucas Nelson. And he was there as well when we saw him at the show in 2012.
Yeah, Lucas is on Instagram. He does some live stuff, and I've checked him out. And his band is The Promise of the Real. I actually know that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I know he's Willie Nelson's son, but he sounds pretty close to Willie, his voice, which is cool.
The younger Willie. Jim, next up we have news on Neil Young.
Okay.
Neil Young is recording a new album with his band, Crazy Horse.
Oh.
Young says, quote, "The horse is back in the barn," end quote. So Neil Young and Crazy Horse have begun their work on the follow-up to their 2019 LP titled Colorado.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, and so it's been a long time since they've been together, he says, and more than a few tears have been shed. They're recording it in the mountains of Colorado, and it's in a barn modeled after an 1850s one that collapsed on the same spot. So I'm guessing this is Neil Young's property in Colorado, because it's the favorite barn, and it's redoing it. So I'm sure the replica is just beautiful, I'm sure.
State of the art.
Yeah. It says that it's an exact replica of the original. Mark Humphreys is doing the monitors, and he continues a 50-year tradition with Neil Young. It says here that there are some new times, some new songs and feelings after what our world has been through and continues to face. The album that they did in 2019, Colorado, was the first since the retirement of guitarist Frank Pancho San Pedro. Pancharelli. San Pedro, S-A-M, not San Pedro, not St. Peter. So then he was replaced by Nils Lofgren. People know the name Nils Lofgren.
Oh, yeah.
Who had a professional relationship with Neil Young way back into 1970 after the Gold Rush sessions. So, so look for that if you're a fan of Neil Young and Crazy Horse. If you enjoyed the Colorado album, this would be one just following up 2 years later.
I'll have to check that out. Because I think the one before that was called Psychedelic Pill. It was like it was two albums. And I have that one.
Yeah.
Do we know how old Neil Young is?
No, he's not very young.
Late 70s.
Yeah. Now, back when we saw Farm Aid in 2012, I think it was, he was playing towards the end too. Remember, it's getting late. Yeah.
And he did like 4 12-minute songs.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. We were sitting down on the blacktop by then. We had a blanket or something, and we
ate late because the lines were long.
We were chilling.
That was an experience.
Yeah.
And I never seen Neil Young before.
Yeah.
And I never have seen Willie until then. So that was good.
Yeah, very cool. What's next, Jim?
So I don't know if you heard about this, but Red Rocks, the concert venue.
Yes, the natural one out in Colorado.
There's a petition over the introduction of wireless headphones and a smartphone app to listen to the concert, while you're there.
Yeah, is that a problem? Some people are thinking that's a problem. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Red Rocks invited fans in row 40 and up to bring wired headphones and download the Mix Halo app in order to listen to studio quality in-ear audio straight from the soundboard.
Well, that's cool.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of weird because you're there, and sometimes I don't know. I like to hear a concert as it's coming to me. That not like I'm listening off of a CD. Even though I'm there, I could just put a video on and do that.
Right. So for the purist, you want to actually hear what's going on in front of you.
Oh yeah.
Not fine tuned and such. Yeah. That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
And it's received a mixed response. Some unhappy fans, they set up a change.com petition. I don't know what that is. The petition made the case for the Red Rocks decibel limit to be repealed, saying recently Red Rocks has suggested people bring headphones from home. We already covered that, to connect to their cell phones. And they're saying this is unacceptable.
So it sounds like they took the decibel limit and, what the decibels were, the loudness, and made a limit on it, a lower limit on it. They brought that down. Okay.
Yeah.
Were they fearing that it would disturb the rocks, and maybe the rocks might start coming down if they're playing too loud? I mean, it's kind of bizarre, but it's possible.
Well, Red Rocks confirmed that the current decibel limit was agreed in 2016, has been in place ever since.
Okay.
Denied any suggestion that the trial of the new tech was related to the venue's sound quality or noise limits. It says Red Rocks continues to have the same acoustic quality that fans have experienced for more than 80 years. No changes have been made to sound limits at Red Rocks since 2016. So it's an interesting one, if you want to sit there and, I mean, it is live. It is while it's happening.
Right.
It is an experience because what you're hearing is exactly what you're seeing at the same time. Although if you watch a live DVD, you're sort of watching it as it happened, but
well, they're mixing,
maybe 40
still
years
mixing
ago.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Next, what I have for us, Jim, is an obituary.
Oh no. Okay, that's sad.
Yeah. So last time I had an obituary, it was a producer, and it's a really good chance to learn about something about him. But as a drummer myself, this is Roger Hawkins, and I didn't know the name, but yet we all have heard him play. We've all heard Roger Hawkins play. Born the 16th of October, 1945, and he passed away in May this year, 75 years old. He was not a flashy performer.
Mm-hmm.
He played his part on such hit records as Aretha Franklin's I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You. Respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Okay.
He's playing drums on that. Say a Little Prayer, and Percy's Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman. And you know that one. It's really slow. Yeah.
I know that song.
Yeah. So a lot of these, as a drummer, and as I think about it, a lot of these are not fast or wild, kind of the John Bonham drum fills kind of thing, but really feeling out. And what he says is, I like to listen to the singer. I'm following the singer. And so that's interesting. He's following the voice, and the bass is going to have to follow the
and these are people that use their voice as an instrument.
Yeah. And so the voices of such timeless classics are those of African Americans. And so think about this. This is the mid-'60s. Okay, this is when I was born. I didn't remember that period, but there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of segregation. And yet, there's a lot of integration in the music industry, and you know that. So he was part of the finest rhythm section in the 1960s and 70s in the small Alabama town of Muscle Shoals. And, Muscle Shoals had the Swampers.
Yeah, the Swampers. And
they've been known to do a song or two.
Well, I have to say, when I was a kid, I thought it was, something to do with indigestion.
Yeah.
You got the Swampers.
Yeah. I thought it was even worse. I thought it was like an infection, the swamp pus.
Actually, I remember
they got the swamp pus.
Yeah. Well, actually, I remember now, and this goes to misheard lyrics.
Yes.
Is that I thought they were saying Muscle Shoals had the swamp flu.
Swamp flu.
Yeah.
Swamp pus.
The way they
flu.
say
I mean,
it.
Yeah. So Roger Hawkins playing drums back in there with the rhythm section. Got a picture here, and sorry, listeners, you can't see it, but you've got guys on a 1940s car here. Roger Hawkins is in this, and the picture shows 5 white guys and 1 black guy in the rhythm section here for Muscle Shoals Studios. Just thinking back and just reflecting on our times and on racial equality and racial justice, thinking about the 1960s, 55 years ago, this rhythm section in Alabama being mostly white, having these people come, these great vocalists, these great black vocalists.
Yeah.
Weren't some from Chicago, probably, coming and this, you could get your house vandalized for this. This is some amazing stuff. In the words of Jerry Wexler, going to quote him. This is
I know Jerry.
Yeah, you and Jerry like this.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Actually, I mentioned it before. I know Jerry's son. I don't know him personally, but I have met him.
Yeah, you've talked with Jerry Wexler's son.
Yes, I have talked to him.
So Jerry Wexler was Aretha Franklin's producer, and Jerry Wexler said this, quote, "White Southern musicians, unlike their British counterparts, who learned the blues off records, lived the blues themselves, saw them, tasted them, were rooted in the same soil as their black teachers," end quote. So just looking at the South from 50 to 60 years ago, and white people and black people making music together, while the rest of people, they had to use separate bathrooms still. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I wonder when they went on tour, say they had, there's like 4 or 5 white people and 1 black person, were they sort of protected in that group?
Yeah, and I was doing some reading, and I'm trying to think what interview that was for, Jim, but doing some reading about how there was some protection, yes, but there were times where the white people were able to go in the front door and check in, and somebody else had to come around the side.
Oh, okay.
And it's sad, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It talks in this, some information I was reading here about respect and say a little prayer and such like that. It says here that he applied care and tuning of his drums, which he adjusted to suit the singer's voice. A lot of people who aren't drummers don't know that drums are tuned. If you're a professional, you actually have them tuned, not just so they sound okay or they're not vibrating, but they actually are tuned. And so he would tune to the singer's voice and what was going on. And professional drummers do that. And he says, quote, "I was always a better listener than a drummer." So he's humble as well. They built their own studios there at Muscle Shoals Sound is the name of it. It's a former casket factory. And the Undertaker's showroom is in the nearby town of Sheffield. Some other people that were there at Muscle Shoals, 1969 album for Cher, Boz Scaggs, Paul Simon's Love Me Like a Rock, Rod Stewart's I Don't Want to Talk About It, Bob Seger, and some other hits. What's interesting about Roger Hawkins is he then, in 1973, so it's just shortly after, was part of the English rock band Traffic.
Okay.
And they recorded with Hawkins. And so it's good to hear some of those Traffic tunes. I was listening to one last week.
Yeah, we all know Steve Winwood.
Yeah. I was listening to Traffic, and I was thinking, that's Roger Hawkins playing right there. Hawkins is survived by his wife, Brenda, and son Dale, and 2 grandchildren. So thinking of Roger Hawkins, we got a photo here of him with his monogrammed shirt. And he's playing ever so nicely there. He looks a little bit like maybe somebody from Star Trek with that haircut.
Oh, yeah.
And all. Yeah, but that's 50 or 60 years ago, so that's what we got.
So next up, I got a couple of podcasts that you might want to check out.
Mm-hmm.
The first one's called Bizarre Albums. The host is Tony Thaxton.
Mm-hmm.
So he covers like weird, of course, bizarre albums. And I went through some of his podcasts. They're mainly actors who have recorded music.
Mm-hmm.
Like Donnie Most, Kurt Russell. Donnie Most was Ralph Mouth in Happy Days.
Okay.
Kurt Russell, the album George Burns Sings. Even he was mainly known as a comedian, of course.
Right.
One I listened to actually today was Buddy Holly's story, and it is Gary Busey. And if anyone hasn't seen this movie, it's actually a great movie, Buddy Holly's story. It's actually hard to find. You have to rent it. It's not. I haven't been able to find it, for free. But
yeah, I've not seen it yet.
Yeah, it was done. I want to say it was in the 80s, maybe. So if anybody knows anything about Gary Busey, he's a little crazy, but there is a reason. He did have a motorcycle accident, and he did have some brain damage.
Just enough to make him funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he claims that he did die on the operating table. He's a word meister. If he says the weirdest things, but somehow they somehow make sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
He's a philosopher.
Yeah.
So
there's near-death experiences. They'll do that to you. My wife was reading a book, and she's been reading up in the last recent months on near-death experiences and their commonalities and stuff. That's fascinating. I didn't know he was a part of that.
Yeah, it could spark the brain.
Yeah.
Like jump-starting your car. But this last podcast, Buddy Holly's story, it goes into a little bit about what he's doing now. There's sound bites. It's a good podcast. And somehow, I just discovered Gary Busey has a TV show. It's called Pet Judge. And it's sort of like the People's Court, but he covers pet cases. And I'm going to show Mike here.
Yeah.
This looks like it's a Saturday Night Live skit. Right.
Yes, it's Gary Busey, Pet Judge. Yeah. And you sent me the link, and I watched just hours ago. I watched one segment. It is hilarious. Yeah. I highly recommend it for
And he has some catchphrase like, I'll get you justice, or something like that.
I'll get you justice.
Yeah. So then there's another podcast I just discovered. It's called A Little Bit Famous, and the host is TED MAROTTA.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the pleasure of messaging him last night. We messaged back and forth, and his podcast is similar to ours. I don't know if he does a regular podcast, but I've seen he does a lot of interviews, and they're not only music people, but also people in entertainment. I think he had a cellist on that he's actually friends with. If you go on his Wikipedia, I wish I could remember his name, but he had a whole list of anybody and everybody this guy's worked with, and he talked to him. And it's sort of the same format that we do, which is great because we like music podcasts. We like other podcasts that aren't exactly what we do, but the more the merrier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very enjoyable podcast. So I would urge you to check it out. A Little Bit Famous, it's called, with TED MAROTTA.
Cool. A Little Bit Famous.
Yes.
All right.
So next up, I want to talk about some music products. This is a new segment. I've been seeing mostly on Facebook, Instagram, a lot of these companies you got to be wary of. Especially the T-shirt companies that are selling band T-shirts.
Right.
You may get the shirt, you may not. It could be poor quality.
Yeah, you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
If it's coming from China, it takes a long time to get here. I know that.
Yeah. The first one is called Alphabet Legends. Mm-hmm. And they put out a book. They put out several books having to do with the alphabet. And yes, this is geared towards kids. It's from age 0, which I thought was odd, to 12. That's what it actually said.
Yeah, for the 1-month-old, for your special 1-month-old.
Yeah. They have one of their books is Guitar Legends, which I thought was great, and it's from Jimi Hendrix to Angus Young. to Sister Rosetta Tharpe, guitar legends, strings togethers an A to Z of the most gifted axemen and women to ever strut the stage. Mm-hmm. And it's artistically illustrated and passionately written, inspiring history lesson and music to the ears of any young or not so young guitar enthusiast. So I thought that was pretty cool. You can go at alphabetlegends.com. And even though I'm kind of endorsing these products, I have not ordered this product.
Or received any money for what.
But I do read the reviews, and I do make sure that people have actually received product. So next one is Rock and Roll Tequila. Now, these bottles that they come in are shaped like electric guitars. They're really cool. 750 milliliter, perfect premium tequila.
You know, I just got this weird feeling that our friend Keith is going to show us this in a few days.
Okay.
When we visit him, I think he's going to have one of these. I think he's going to have a guitar-shaped bottle with tequila in it.
Yeah.
I can picture that. But go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says this is off the website, and the website is yahooheart.com. I think that is a distributor. I think it can be found on other websites too. Mm-hmm. So you just type in, I guess, Rock and Roll Tequila. But it says our story began with an epic journey to the distant highlands of Jalisco, Mexico.
Mm-hmm. It's Jalisco.
Mm-hmm. When former music producer and Rock and Roll Tequila founder Andy Herbst, I'm probably saying that wrong, Herbst.
Yeah.
Herbst.
It's probably Herbst.
He was in search of the perfect premium tequila. So since then, most of the music genre itself and rock and roll tequila have evolved since he started this, transforming the brand into award-winning tequila known for its defiantly unique bottle and loved for its ultra-premium quality and taste.
That's great. So it's not just the bottle. It is the taste. It is, it's not just a gimmick where you have the bottle and it tastes like...
Well, the bottles are pretty cool, and, it's something that after you drank it, you maybe want to display it. I mean, I think there's 3 or 4 different guitars.
Wow. We haven't found the cost of this, have we?
These are, I want to say they're like $40.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be
$35,
more. I was picturing 99 to 1.
No.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it's 750 milliliter. Mm-hmm. So our last product, it's a company called DW Home, and it's dwhome.com, and they make candles. Mm-hmm. They make unique candles. Here are some of the scents: Mountain Air, Black Tuxedo, Cigar Lounge. Who doesn't like the smell of a good cigar?
Yeah, Cigar Lounge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Modern Gentleman. I don't know what that smells like.
Somebody is clean, hopefully.
Yeah. Classic Man. That might be iffy.
Are these candles, or is a spray?
These are candles.
Oh, I thought it was a spray. You spray your room with it or something.
We got Auto Shop.
Oh, yeah. Old oil and grease. Nothing like it.
Yeah. Fairway, meaning, golf course.
Yeah.
Barbershop.
Oh, little shaving, menthol, shaving cream. Yeah. And
I actually have a candle that we're going to try out.
Okay.
So let me go get it.
Okay, yeah.
So I actually do have the product in front of me.
Yeah, it's bubble wrapped.
And this scent, appropriately, is record store.
Okay, record store, yeah.
So we're going to see what it smells like here. If I can get it out of the plastic.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Oh, cool! I like the lids. Look, check out the lid. It's a record. Yeah.
Yeah, the lid is a record.
Yeah.
It's in a black canister here.
Very cool.
These are handcrafted, and it had approximately, I think it says 33 hours. It's real tiny on there.
Yeah. Record store. Richly scented candle.
So I have a lighter. Hopefully I don't light our papers on fire here.
Let me get a little smell here. Okay. Yeah. It's good so far, yeah.
Someone commented that does it smell like moldy basement,
1960s paper, cardboard and paper. I don't know. I think there's a little vanilla in there.
Okay. So I lit the candle.
Yeah.
I don't really smell anything.
Yeah, well, it's going to take a little bit to get to your brain. I like the record album. It's blank up there. You got to write in what?
I think I smell Motley Crue. I hope I don't smell Bon Jovi.
Well, the Beatles must be mentioned each time, and so I wonder if it's going to smell like the Beatles on their first tour.
It has a pleasant smell.
Mm-hmm. Let me get some air wafting my way here. Let me see here.
We just don't want to light the studio on fire.
Yeah. Well, we're going to let this burn while we go on. And
these candles, I want to say they are $20.
Now, what's interesting is it says DW Home. I was just kind of thinking that DW is a brand of drum manufacturer, along with Tama and Yamaha. And I thought DW. So I wonder if there's any relationship between the DW Home. Probably not.
They carry other products like home products besides candles.
This just happens to be a musical candle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll sniff that in, and then we're going to go to our next thing.
This isn't the where I have to be tested true and false.
Oh, yes. Hold on a minute.
All right, so while you're getting that, I'm going to make a little spot for Prevagen. 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 If you don't remember what you're talking about, take a Prevagen. It'll come back to you. So that should be their byline. It'll come back to you. Prevagen. It'll come back to you.
So our next segment.
True or false?
True or false? True or false?
Okay. I don't know who that was. Okay, so these are three.
I don't know. Satan?
So these are three.
Yes, I'm ready.
Stories.
I am so ready right now.
One
Jim.
of these is false.
Okay.
So see if we're going to see if Mike can pick out. You can play along at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you're not going to tell me until I get to
the very
all
end.
Three.
Yeah.
So we have a headline.
That's false.
Okay.
Oh.
We have a headline. And then we have like one sentence.
Yeah. So it's three of them, and one is false, and I'm going to find the false one.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, I did make up these headlines, so
of course
on all three.
Of course.
Okay. The first one is I did it my way, and then I died.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
In the Philippines, at least 12 or more people have died since 2002 while doing karaoke to the Frank Sinatra song My Way. Okay, that's the first one.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The second one was Bob Dylan really blowing in the wind. Bob Dylan's song Blowing in the Wind took 30 takes to get it right, since Dylan had to stop each time because of gas pains and farting.
Okay. Oh, this is difficult.
Okay.
Because, me and Mr. Zimmerman, we go way back. Yeah.
Okay, here's the third one.
All right.
Princess Beatrice. Now, Princess Beatrice is a real person.
Yes, Beatrice.
She is Prince. Is it Prince Albert in a can? No. Prince Andrew. Okay.
Yes, Prince Andrew.
She's Prince Andrew's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She sliced open Ed Sheeran's face with a sword while attempting to knight James Blunt at the Royal Lodge in Windsor.
Wow.
Okay, so that's our third one.
Okay, wow. Okay, so to recap, we have
the karaoke
My Way.
People have died.
Yes.
Singing that song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Was he really blowing in the wind?
Yes.
And then Princess Beatrice knighting James Blunt.
Yes.
And cutting Ed Sheeran with a sword.
Cutting Ed Sheeran. Where was he cut? The leg? The face?
The face.
He was cut on the face.
Yes.
By Ms. Beatrice.
Yes.
I like to say Beatrice.
Beatrice.
I like to have the three syllables.
I'm going to Beatrice your butt.
Miss Beatrice. All right, so I am going to find the false one here, and I believe that the false one is A, My Way.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to go through each one.
Yes.
The first one is actually true. Okay.
They did it their way, didn't they?
The My Way killings are a social phenomenon in the Philippines, referring to a number of fatality disputes that arose due to the singing of My Way. It wasn't that they died singing it, but they did die singing it.
Yeah.
According to local authorities, at least 12 people died between 2002 and 2012. Now, I haven't been able to find anything after 2012, so that's... It is true.
Maybe it died down.
Yes. So I have a couple other karaoke killings. In August 2007, a karaoke singer in Seattle, Washington was attacked by a woman who wanted him to stop singing Coldplay's Yellow. She did not like that song.
It's all yellow.
Yes. Now, he was attacked. He wasn't killed.
Wow. Yeah.
And in March 2008, a man was arrested in Thailand for shooting 8 people to death, including his brother-in-law, in a dispute stemming from several karaoke offerings included repeated renditions of John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads.
Wow.
Just had enough.
They heard it one too many times.
Had enough.
Yes.
In December 2008, a man at a Malaysia coffee shop hogged the karaoke microphone so long he was stabbed to death by other patrons. This is sad stuff.
I know. It's only funny later. It's not funny at the time.
And we're probably going to be doing karaoke Saturday, but we're amongst friends. Don't be concerned about us. You know,
we'll live through it.
Yeah. In August 2012, a fight over the microphone broke out in a Chinese karaoke parlor with a man killing 2 others with a meat cleaver. And lastly, in July 2013, an American was stabbed to death for refusing to stop singing in a karaoke bar in, I'm going to probably mess this, Krabi, Thailand. Krabi.
Oh, so it's an American in Thailand.
Yes.
Drunk. Definitely drunk.
So watch out when you're doing karaoke. Okay. Now
So that's, so the karaoke killings, it's true.
Yes.
Yes, and I thought it was false, so I did not win. So we have the next one.
So was Bob Dylan really blowing in the wind? This is the false story. But I somehow found a recording of that day in the studio. Is it false? Let's listen in on the studio when Bob Dylan was recording. Okay. Here we go.
Yes, I'm listening. Yes.
Okay.
Blowing in the wind.
Take 11. Take 12. Take 13.
Ah, just baby. Ah, the crow. Ah, just do it.
How many rules must a man walk down before you can call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps? Okay, Bob, you almost got through the first set of lyrics. You ready? Take 14.
Yeah, so he really needed to take a break.
Yeah.
I'll never listen to Blowing in the Wind again.
So is that
Same
true?
way.
That is actually false.
Yeah, that's false. Leaving the third one true then. The third one that
Yes.
I didn't guess.
Ed Sheeran actually got stabbed in the face.
I was feeling that was true.
Yeah. So this was, I don't know what year this was, but it says Ed was 25 at the time. He was rushed to the hospital after B, that's what he called her, I guess. Beatrice. 28, swung the ceremonial blade over her shoulder without realizing he was behind her. The royal had grabbed a sword after soldier-turned-singer James Blunt, 42, joked that he would love to become a sir. But as she said, "Arise, Sir James."
Arise, Sir James!
Arise, Sir James!
She is believed to have misjudged the weight of the blade and had no idea Ed Sheeran was standing behind her. So he was taken to the hospital for treatment to a gash under his eye.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't poke his eye out.
And Beatrice was said to be inconsolable. Yeah, so.
Cried all night.
Yeah.
And the next night.
Now, Ed Sheeran he denied this story for a while, but somehow it got out.
Yeah.
And I saw him on Graham Norton. I love watching Graham Norton because he'll have interesting people on there. I think Ed Sheeran was sitting next to Matthew McConaughey. You know, McConaughey.
You said that well, too. McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Miss Mameldhay.
Miss Helme.
So Graham Norton wanted to tell the story, and Ed Sheeran said to start it with alleged. Allegedly, but
that's interesting because it either happened
and he does
or
have
didn't. But he was there.
And he has a scar on his face.
Yeah.
So
there's still mystery in that because if you got hit in the face with he's trying to protect Beatrice because she was inconsolable. That's what it is. He's trying to be a nice guy and protect her.
Yeah.
From the offense. So, Jim, we got something special for the listeners next. Something you prepared?
Yeah, I have a summer song. That song that I've been listening to this summer.
Everybody needs a summer song.
Oh, yeah.
Something that defines the summer for them.
This defines the summer for me somehow, and it's Tom Waits, Filipino box spring hog, and I don't know.
Filipino box spring hog.
This is where you build a big fire. You throw a box spring on it until it's burnt off everything but the still springs.
So you have a spring grill.
Yeah, and you put a hog over the springs above the coals, sauce it with a broom, flip it over every now and then.
Takes a while. I heard it takes all day.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with this song, we got Tom Waits in here.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's that Bruce. Are you ready? Spider rolled in from Hollister Burn with a one-eyed stolen mare. Donned himself with a chicken fat, sewn on a jaw bean by there. Kathleen was sitting down in a little rest recovery room in a criminal underwear bra. I was naked to the waist with a fierce black hound. I'm cooking up a Philippine box spring hog. Cooking up a Philippine box spring hog. Cooking up a Philippine box spring hog.
Tom, it's so good to have you in the studio. It's been great. Great having a drink with you earlier, and thanks for sharing.
Oh, it's great being here.
Yeah.
Talk to you later, guys.
All right, take care.
Wow, that was exciting.
I know, it's just amazing to
have Mr. Tom Waits in the studio. Incredible.
It warms my heart like summer.
Yeah.
It does.
So let's talk about some new bands. I've got one new band and one old band. I don't know if you want to go first, Mike. Or...
No, go ahead. And I've got one person I want to focus on today.
So there's this blues band called When Rivers Meet.
Yeah, I don't know them. Great.
They're from Essex, England. It's a husband and wife blues band. They have one album out. It came out in 2020. It's called We Fly Free. They're currently recording their second album.
Yeah, so they're doing things new here. This is recent stuff.
And what's amazing is that they just won, I think it was in April, 4 UK Blues Awards. Yeah, they won 4 UK Blues Awards. I think one was maybe Best Upcoming Blues Band. But that's incredible. 4 Blues Awards. They just have a great sound. They are categorized on Apple Music as rock. So they do have an edge to them.
But not truly rock. It's some other blended feel in there, yeah.
I don't know if there's other music. I know I hear drums, but I know her husband plays the guitar, lead guitar. But I was thinking, imagine Norah Jones and Kenny Wayne Shepherd starting a blues band.
Yeah, wow.
Basically because Kenny Wayne Shepherd, he is not the singer of the band. He just plays guitar. Yeah. So, but she has a really good voice. So the couple's name is Grace, and her husband's name is Aaron. When they first met, Grace had been touring festivals with a Meatloaf tribute act.
Wow.
And Aaron had been playing in local rock bands. Truly believe they're going places. Can't wait to hear their second album.
So a blues rock feel?
Yeah.
'Cause, they're classified as rock, so.
But it's their songs are unique. I listened to the album a couple times, and I mean their voices go together perfectly. There are a couple slow songs in there, and there's some really rockin', some blues licks, but it's not your traditional just blues. Yeah, there's a lot more going on there. A lot of great guitar solos. So check out When Rivers Meet.
Very cool. When Rivers Meet?
Yes, When Rivers Meet.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, I'd like to focus on a man who is a master musician and host, Chris Thile. So Christopher Scott Thile was born in 1981,
mm-hmm.
and I first heard about him through the band Nickel Creek, which I'll refer to in a minute here. But he's an American mandolinist, singer, songwriter, composer, and now radio host, radio personality.
Mm-hmm.
So some of you might know, those of you who listen to NPR, like myself, know that Prairie Home Companion ended, and they were looking for someone to fill Garrison Keillor's shoes, and that's pretty big shoes to fill. Yeah. So they called on Chris Thile, and he did it until he decided to change the name of Prairie Home Companion to Live From Here. So, it still has that same variety show feel, bringing in new musicians, new comedy acts, storytelling, just music and storytelling, and it's a great time for all. So he changed it to Live From Here, and then Live From Here, I believe, needed to end due to the pandemic. Chris Thile started in 1989 in Carlsbad, California. Now, I've been to Carlsbad, California. It's on the coast, south of L.A., not to be confused with Carlsbad Caverns, which are somewhere else. But this is Carlsbad, and they were at this little pizza place called That Pizza Place. And it was Chris Thile and his parents, and then also some other people there. And they're playing contemporary folk music, and they had several albums out. And Nickel Creek actually began to gain popularity. And he's been playing the mandolin since age 5, so he's really got it down. When he was 8, the Thile family and the Watkins family formed Nickel Creek, and so you'll see how it develops with that. So we've got they've moved to Murray, Kentucky, and in 2007 Nickel Creek ended. Thile started a band called How to Grow a Band. It's a little bit, awkward title, but I guess that's Thile for you. How to Grow a Band and How to Grow a Woman from the Ground. So so when they were doing that, he said, I didn't know, quote, I didn't know if it would be a rock ensemble, an ambitious acoustic classical thing, or a bluegrass group. And so he's describing his thoughts as he's trying to form a new band and put together a bluegrass group. So he puts together a bluegrass group. They become the Tensions Mountain Boys. Now, again, that's kind of an awkward. I mean, how do you talk about the Tensions with a plural? The Tensions Mountain Boys. So much easier to say is the current form, the Punch Brothers.
Nice.
So Chris Thile is part of the Punch Brothers, and we've got, I'm looking at a photo here of them playing in 2008. As the Punch Brothers, they played on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and that was in 2008. In 2010, they're on The Late Show with David Letterman, with Steve Martin guesting on banjo. So Steve Martin's playing with the Punch Brothers and Chris there with Letterman. So some pretty cool stuff there. He gets together with a bassist called Edgar Meyer, and I've not heard of him before, playing on None Such Records and doing some side projects. Again, back to Prairie Home Companion, which I was a regular listener to. Every Saturday I would get out the eggs, make some eggs for myself, my wife, my kids who would come to breakfast later, and I'd be listening to Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah, I've heard it a couple of times.
Yeah, it's... So,
Mike, whatever happened to Garrison Keillor? What happened there?
I don't know. That's a great question. Has he passed?
You don't know?
No.
It's something to do with the Me Too movement. but we don't have to talk about it.
Okay, interesting. So he was feeling left out of the Me Too movement.
Yeah, he was accused of sexual misbehavior.
Sniffing hair? There has been hair sniffing in the past.
He might have been sniffing the microphone. I don't know. No, I don't know.
So they had to move him on.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
after
sad.
all those years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we will look into that, and you, the listeners, you can look into that yourself. So he took over. Chris Thiele did take over and was the host for the first time on October 15th, 2016. So now you get your time frame there. And NPR did need to cancel the show due to COVID. People couldn't be there, in the auditorium listening. And so that last show was June 14th, 2020.
Was that a weekly show? Or?
Yeah, and it came on every Saturday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you're doing your thing, whatever you do Saturday morning. So Chris Thiele, on his own, doing another solo project. This is all new. It's called Lay Songs. It's very, very interesting. It's just him, his voice, and his mandolin. And there's a little feet stomping in the first one called Lay Song on the album, Lay Songs. But it's very raw, it's acoustic, it's philosophical. He's analyzing some religious constructs. I just recently read that he grew up in a Christian evangelical family. And so I think he's going back and trying to figure all that out, how he sees God. And there is salt of the earth, and he puts in parentheses, salt in the wounds of the earth. And he's got a 3 song on that. I really like the first song, Lay Song, and it's just really reflective. Some other things just to close with Chris Thiele. He was involved in something called Goat Rodeo, and that was with cellist Yo-Yo Ma.
Oh, I thought maybe he rode goats.
No,
Goat
it's not
rodeo.
an actual.
I was like, I've got to go see that.
No, because that would be great for that would probably bring back Live from Here.
Their backs aren't that strong though, to support. You know, you would have to be very tiny.
Yeah. So I think the chaos. Smaller than a jockey for the horse racing that we saw. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Or you put a cat on the goat's back.
I was thinking 4-year-old humans, but yeah, a cat. Put cats on goats, on baby goats.
It'd be like someone riding a wild bull, except the cat is going to be the wild bull on the back of the goat.
Cats
just flailing around.
I know cats. You know cats.
Yeah.
They would not be happy.
No. They don't like to be juggled either.
Cats. If you lived through the 70s,
I'm
you know
sorry,
about cat juggling. So Goat Rodeo.
Yes.
Goat Rodeo is actually the name of the band, the meeting of minds. Yo-Yo Ma on cello, Stuart Duncan on banjo and fiddle, Edgar Meyer on bass, and Chris Thiele on mandolin and vocals. But that was in 2011, and they came back around again in 2020, just last year, for Not Our First Goat Rodeo. So it's an interesting amalgamation, and yes, I'm going to use the word amalgamation of
amalgamation.
It's an amalgamation, y'all, of instruments coming together. The ones I just mentioned coming together to bring a kind of bluegrass, classical, avant-garde mix. It's very interesting. So check out Goat Rodeo, and you will be surprised at what you're hearing.
What's your take on bluegrass rap?
I have heard the term.
I was watching, and I'm not lying, America's Got Talent the other night.
Yeah.
And there was a couple guys playing banjo. They started out with a bluegrass song.
Yeah.
And then a guy that was standing on the side comes to the front and then starts rapping.
It's familiar.
It's
familiar. It's familiar shit.
It was actually unique, and it was actually good.
So it was interesting enough to be good.
Yeah, I've never heard banjos behind someone rapping.
Yeah.
And it flowed.
That's fascinating.
Flowed like Flo Milli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's familiar.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know this. They think the banjo is just from Appalachia in the eastern central U.S., but it's not. It's amazing that it comes from Africa, brought over with the djembe and African drums. It was brought over from Africa. Can you imagine that? Yeah, so it comes together, Yeah. Bluegrass rap. I just said blue gas.
Blue gas. Thinking of Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan rap.
Poor Bob Dylan.
Well, we're gonna have to investigate that a little bit. I gotta check out blue gas. Blue gas?
Bluegrass. Yes. And goat rodeos.
Goat rodeo.
So this is something new, but something old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the band Los Lobos.
Yes.
And they're coming out with their 17th album.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that they would have more than 17 albums.
No, I still would have gone with like 12, 13.
Well, they started 43 years ago, believe it or not.
Oh, yes. Los Lobos.
Yeah. So this new album is a cover album.
Okay. Is it a cover of Weezer songs? That would be so funny.
These are LA artists.
Okay.
Except the title track, which Los Lobos is a LA artist, which they wrote. That's their only original. But they cover the Beach Boys, Sail On, Sailor. Don't know if you know that one. I've never heard of some of these bands. The Midnighters.
Nope, don't know them.
So I think there's some obscure LA bands, but they're paying homage to the LA music scene. We got Barrett Strong. Buffalo Springfield, though. Bluebird, For What It's Worth. I don't really know that song. Jackson Brown, Jamaica Say You Will. So I think these are kind of, I know Sailor Sail On by the Beach Boys, but I think some of these are kind of obscure and also obscure bands.
Right, when you would look for obscure songs to be unique for your album. You wouldn't look for the hits. Yeah.
I mean, you got the band War, The World is a Ghetto. This is an interesting album to me. I heard Sail On Sailor. There are a couple, and what bands do now is release like one or two. You know what I'm thinking? Like singles. Before an album came out, back in the old days, they would release a single or two before the entire album came out.
Yeah.
So what Apple Music does is these are singles, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrea Van Kampen's doing that.
Yes.
She's got her 3 singles out before the album. August.
So if you go into the album, the entire album, you'll see ones that are you can click on, and then the other ones are grayed out until the album comes out.
Right. So did you get to listen to any of these?
Yeah, I listened to. Yeah, I actually like it, and I've listened to Los Lobos. I think they're a good band. I've never seen them live. But I'd like to.
I had no idea they were still doing it after all these years.
Oh, yeah.
43 years. Wow.
They may only be in their 60s if they, bands start out like when they're in the 20s, early 20s, maybe. Yeah. I mean, everybody remembers La Bamba. That's their most famous song. And sadly, it's their most famous song because it's also Richie Valens' song, and they did that for the movie. Oh. And I think they did all the songs for the movie. So this new album, the album name would be good, Native Sons, comes out July 30th.
Very cool.
And Los Lobos is going on tour. Their tour started actually in May. It started at the first concert was a live stream, the Cinco de Mayo live stream appropriately, May 5th, that was. August, they're going to be in Illinois, California, even Virginia. And they end their tour next year. I'm sure they're going to fill in some spots because this goes from August and then we're into July. They already have a couple July in Colorado at Red Rocks. They'll be there July 29th and 30th.
Bring your earbuds if you're going to Red Rocks.
Yes, next year. So Los Lobos.
Very cool.
Native Sons. Check the album out July 30th.
Excellent. Yeah, good. So we got one more segment for our listeners here. What do we got, Jim?
Hey everybody, this is Casey Kasem with America's Top 10 for the week ending July 24th, 1965.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, thank you, Casey.
Yeah, it's good to hear his voice again.
Yeah.
So we got top 10 here, and I'm going to start out with number 10.
Okay.
Heading on down to 1. Number 10 is a dance song. You Turn Me On. It's commonly called the Turn On song when they would request it. Hey, give me that Turn On song by Ian Whitcomb. And I had not really...
And Bluesville.
Yes, and Bluesville.
Don't forget Bluesville.
And Bluesville. Yeah, when you look up on Apple Music, they don't even mention Bluesville. They kind of just... So, interesting song. Musically, I like it. I might even put it on a playlist. I had not heard it before. I had just not heard it before.
I don't think I've heard it before either.
Yeah, it's 55.
Now, did you notice it? It reminded me of Elton John's Honky Cat.
Yeah,
it has that ragtime feel.
Yeah. And it's got some, lyrics that are a little sexual for the time, for 56 years ago. I'm thinking maybe that's Do the Jerk with Me. I think the jerk was a dance, actually. I'm going to guess that the jerk, you kind of jerk your body around. So, one of the lyrics is Do the Jerk with Me.
On Wikipedia, it actually says orgasmic vocal hook. Oh. Where he goes, ooh.
Yes, that part in it. Yeah.
That is weird. So I was thinking Prince should have done this song.
Yeah, and gotten away with it 40 years later. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, so there's You Turn Me On. Number 9, it is the well-known, slightly overplayed Mr. Tambourine Man by the Byrds. I think this, the lyrics, they're definitive of the times, the mid-1960s. Some of the lyrics... Take me for a trip upon your magic swirling ship. I mean, it's so 60s. I mean, I don't know what else they're taking.
Psychedelic.
They're taking something, and then they're going to take a trip. Cast your dancing spell my way. I promise to go under it. So cast your spell, and I'll be under your spell.
It's no Mr. Bojangles, but I actually, if I can interject,
yes, you may.
I really like this version by the Byrds rather than, I think Bob Dylan did Mr. Tambourine Man.
I agree with you completely. When I listened to it last week, I was thinking the same thing.
Now, I know the Byrds, but I don't know who's singing this, but it's a soothing, the vocals are soothing. It's actually a pleasant song to listen to.
And the backing, then they have backing vocals,
And I know we've heard it 1,000 times, but...
Yeah. And what is played more? I think Bob Dylan's version is probably getting more airplay.
Yeah, and I'd rather hear this one.
Yeah, very interesting. So we are in the mid-60s here. Number 8 is Seventh Son by Johnny Rivers.
And not to be confused with Seventh Son of the Seventh Son by Iron Maiden, because there is a song. I saw that on Apple Music.
Yeah. And Sting's song, something like The Seventh Son.
Of the Seventh Turtle.
Yeah. Dream of the Blue Turtle.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So this is written by Willie Dixon. Some of you know him, not personally, but of the Willie Dixon. So early 60s. Ego-driven lyrics, I call it, that would put rappers to shame. Quote, I heal the sick and raise the dead, make the little girls talk out of their head. Yeah. Anyway, just so I think it's really interesting to just I can do this, I can do that. Look at me, but Seventh Son, and interesting,
and it's a live song.
Oh, it is.
There's people yelling in it.
Yeah, maybe they're in a studio. Who knows?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't notice that.
Now, Johnny Rivers, I know well. Johnny Rivers is like the hitmeister. He did Secret Agent Man.
Yes.
He did. Letter from Maria or something like there, and I don't know if I don't think he writes the song. I think he does a lot of cover songs, but he's had a good run with a lot of these songs.
All right, number 7, and you're gonna all know this song, not necessarily the original, but when it was done by 2 other people. This is What the World Needs Now Is Love by Jackie DeShannon. And this was also done and popularized by Dionne Warwick and Burt Bacharach. It's a pretty straightforward plea for love, more love in the world.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
There you go.
I have to say I hate this song. And also when you hear it, you immediately think Burt Bacharach. I don't know. It's got that sappy. I'm serious. I listened to it the other day, and I'm like, I know this song, and I don't want to hear it again.
Which version is that?
The Jackie DeShannon
Okay, yeah,
song,
yeah.
but
So I think it's ahead of its time, and that's not necessarily positive because it has a 70s sappy feel.
You're right.
It's like, what year is this?
You're right, and we're talking 65.
Yeah, 65. So she's 7 years ahead of her time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm hearing Dionne Warwick.
And someday we're going to talk about yacht rock.
Yacht rock.
You know yacht rock?
No.
It's the 70s, mostly the 70s ballads that I love. I used to call them just cheesy.
Yeah.
But now they call it yacht rock.
Oh,
like Toto.
Yeah, when Weezer redid the Toto song Africa, it sounded just like Toto.
Yeah,
really
like Christopher Cross. He's like the poster child of yacht rock.
Yeah.
So when I say Christopher Cross, that describes yacht rock.
Sailing, buddy.
But I love those. Yeah. So this song though is, I'm telling you, I don't like it.
Yeah. And you don't have
to be honest.
And you don't have to.
I don't.
Number 6, Yes, I'm Ready by Barbara Mason. Nobody would have guessed it was Barbara Mason. Does anybody know Barbara Mason?
I don't know the original. That's the problem.
What are you hearing? What? Who do you know?
Well, it was recorded by Casey.
Could be. KC.
KC and the Sun. Well, not just KC from the Sunshine Band.
Yeah.
And forgive me, but I forget the woman that sings. But I know she looks like a pixie. and she was cute.
Yeah, it's not
then.
a bad thing. It's really
So I know that version, and that might be considered yacht rock too. I don't know this original. I don't know Barbara Mason. Yeah. I know Marsha Mason. She.
So I listened to it, and I don't have a lot to say about it. Just it's mellow. It's super mellow. Lyrically, it reminds me of the times and of
Have you ever been mellow?
Yeah, that's 70s all the way. So we're continuing on in 1965. Cara mia. So you're at number 5 here, Jimbo.
Yeah, we got number 5 with
Cara mia.
Cara Mio. No, not Mio. Cara Mia.
Yeah.
Cara Mia.
Yeah.
Jay and the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I think the beginning of the song is weird because he's like channeling Pavarotti.
Yeah.
Then the song kicks in. It's got a steady beat and kind of 50s kind of sound, and he's really hitting those high notes, and it reminds me of Roy Orbison a little bit.
Yeah.
So this song, before I even looked it up to see what it was about, I thought 50s, and of course this song was published in 1954. It became a UK number 1 and a US number 10 song.
Did not know that, and I never heard of it before I listened to it last week.
So in 1954, it was a hit for English singer David Whitfield. And then a number 4 hit for Jay and the Americans in 1965. And it went into the charts in the Netherlands when it was re-released in 1980. And the title does mean My Beloved in Italian.
New to me.
Yeah.
So, Jim, what's new, Pussycat?
Yeah, number 4, we got Tom Jones with What's New, Pussycat. And I know for a fact I've probably seen or heard in an interview, Tom Jones, this is his least favorite song to sing, but he realizes he has to sing it because I guess some people out there still want him to sing it.
Every musician probably has that song that people just love and they just want to hear it.
Yeah. So this was a theme song. Of course, this is actually a Burt Bacharach written song and Hal David, and it was for the film What's New, Pussycat. The original song, believe it or not, included a 13-second instrumental intro. I thought it said minute. 13-second instrumental introduction.
Yeah.
Ending in the sound of shattering glass. But later issues omitted this introduction
and just got right to it. Yeah. Well, it's not a whole lot lyrically. I mean, he's probably thinking, all right, I got to write a song for What's New, Pussycat. How about the lyrics? What's New, Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's a fun song. I think it'd be a fun song for him to sing, but it's not an intelligent song. But it was Tom Jones' 3rd UK Top 30 record. Peaked at number 11. And in the U.S., it peaked at number 3 because they like cheese.
I tried listening to it without laughing, and then I listened to it again and challenged myself to actually not laugh while I was listening to it. It didn't work.
Now, I have a personal connection to this song.
Which one?
What's New Pussycat?
Okay.
I have met the drummer of this song.
Wow.
His name was Andy White.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, he's passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I met Andy at a Memorial Day picnic at unfortunately, the late Pat Denizio's house. Andy White also, believe it or not, was on 2 Beatles songs. And this was even when Ringo was part of the band.
Yeah.
Before it was after Pete Best Pete Best was drummer, and then they brought in Ringo. So the version of Love Me Do, this is about Andy White, of course.
Yeah.
The version of Love Me Do with Ringo Starr on drums was used on the early British pressings of the single in 1962. But the version with Andy White playing drums was used on the first American pressings of the single in 1964. So George Martin, he disapproved of Pete Best's drumming. And he was also unhappy with newcomer Ringo Starr's drumming. Wow. So on September 11th, 1962, they wanted the song recorded again. So that's where Andy White came in. So anyway, that's a little on Andy White and What's New Pussycat.
So I was, I don't know if you can sing any of that for us, because people who are listeners who don't really know What's New Pussycat.
What's New Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, there's something like that, yeah. And then you repeat about 26 times.
Our listeners love when we sing.
Yeah. It breaks it up a little bit, that's for sure.
It's beautiful. We should start a band, Okay, we're at number 3.
Yes, we are.
I Can't Help Myself, the Four Tops.
Yeah.
So I love this song. And I think a lot of people think this song is called Sugar
Pie Honey Bunch.
I'm on a sugar high. No.
Sugar High Honey Bunch.
Sugar Pie Honey Bunch.
Yeah, I just love that. Love that lyric.
But it's called I Can't Help Myself. And I think that the intro has to be the most recognizable.
Yes, very much.
In music history. I think you can't help moving around and snapping your fingers when you hear this song.
Also sounds 50s to me. It sounds a little early. Sounds like it's, even early 60s or late 50s to me when I hear it, yeah.
So when I look up a song, I'll go on Apple Music, right? So for some reason, if you start playing a song, it will go into the next song. I got the headphones on. I don't have them, they aren't really low, but they aren't loud, but, I can hear it real clearly. And this song ends, and then another song called Can't Help Myself starts, and it's a country song. And it's Dean Brody and the Reclaws.
I can't help myself, y'all.
But it's like, it just comes in, this country song comes in, and I'm like,
bam!
I almost fell off my chair. So this song, I Can't Help Myself, was, of course, written by Motown's main production team, Holland, Dozier, and Holland. They wrote about 10 out of the Supremes' 12 U.S. #1 singles. Wow. They wrote Baby Love, Stop in the Name of Love, Keep Me Hanging On. So they also wrote this song.
Yeah. Definite lyrical theme,
Yeah, so I'd say check this song out, because it is a great song, The Four Tops.
On Motown Records.
Yes.
Winding it up here. We're at number 2 on the top 10, 1965.
And we got Irene Cara. No, I'm just
Who is
Irene
Cara?
Did we ever answer that question?
Yeah, we got to the answer.
Okay.
If they were listening to the end, we got the answer.
So number 2 is very dear to my heart.
Who are you?
It's I'm Henry VIII, I Am. I've always loved this song, Herman's Hermits.
Don't lie. You did not always love this song.
I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am.
So if you like that, check out Herman's Hermits. They really were unique,
He was married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone was a Henry. Henry! Ain't no Willie on a Sam.
Henry! Yeah. So I'd heard this song before, but I didn't really realize that he was not only the 8th, but he was the 8th Henry. So she's a widow. She was a widow 7 times, and every one of her husbands was named Henry, and that is kind of funny.
She was married to Henry Ford, Henry Rollins,
John Henry?
Henry, I can't think of any Henrys. I think this is a good sing-along song. I actually saw Peter Noon. I've seen him a couple times back in the 90s, like the mid-90s, on the Teen Idols tour.
Wow, the Teen Idols tour.
With Davy Jones, Bobby Sherman, you know? And everyone was singing along. Now, this is spelled Henry, Henery, but pronounced Enery.
Enery.
And this will bring up Ivor Davis. This is in the Cockney style.
Oh, interesting.
Ivor goes by Cockney Kid, by the way, on Instagram. Normally used to sing it. It's a 1910 British music hall song by Fred Mercury and R.P. Weston. It was a signature song of the music hall star Harry Champion. So this was a good sing-along song.
Yeah, from 111 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the math. It's 111 years ago. That's insane. So British accent, Cockney accent specifically to sing this song. Interesting.
So Joe Brown, we don't know Joe from Schmo, included the song on his first album, A Picture of You, in 1962, but in 65, it became the fastest selling song in history to that point when it was revived by Herman's Hermits. And it became the group's second number one on Billboard Hot 100, dethroning, believe it or not, our next song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, number one. Yeah.
We got Mick Jagger.
Mick.
And the Rolling Stones.
And I just got to say, last time we spoke with Ivor Davis, he said, don't disrespect the Mick.
Yeah.
I think he called him the Mick.
Do not disrespect the Mick.
Yeah,
yes.
So go ahead, yeah. Yeah, very good.
And I'd say, if you haven't heard this song, go listen to it. I've actually heard it way too many times.
Yeah, I think everybody.
The lyrics refer to sexual frustration and commercialism. Now, I found this interesting. Keith Richards wrote this song in his sleep.
It's kind of hard to do, but yeah, he accomplished that.
Well, get this. He recorded a rough version of the riff, I guess the guitar riff, on a Philips cassette player. He had no idea he had written it. He said when he listened to the recording in the morning, there was about 2 minutes of acoustic guitar before you could hear him drop the pick and then me snoring for the next 40 minutes.
Wow, that's awesome.
So he just decided, he probably kind of remembered he recorded something.
Yeah.
So Mick Jagger wrote the lyrics by a pool in Clearwater, Florida, 4 days before they went into the studio.
The Stones, doing it after all these years. Fred, Wilma.
Yeah. Some of the lyrics, when I'm watching my TV and a man comes on and tells me how white my shirts can be, but he can't be a man because he doesn't smoke the same cigarettes as me.
Yeah, it's about commercialism.
Yeah. And this is a misheard lyric because he says, I can't get no satisfaction. I can't get no girl reaction. And I honestly thought he was saying, I think up until last week, that he was saying, I can't get no girly action.
Girly action?
Yeah.
I thought it was good reaction. No good reaction. Yeah.
I heard girly action. He couldn't get no
I can't get no girly action.
But that kind of goes with the whole
of course
song.
It does. Yeah.
It should have been girly action.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think this is really... I think they were a little bit ahead of their times. When you're talking 1965, I'm hearing this. People were doing stuff like this 5 years later and stuff. I think they were a little bit ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why they're the Stones.
The Rolling Stones.
So that does it for our podcast today. So hopefully you all enjoyed listening
and learned
to our
something
antics.
New. Learn something new.
If you want to kind of contribute to the podcast, you have to go to Buy Me a Coffee.
Buy me a drink of any kind.
Look up Jim and Mike Talk Music.
All right, until next time, remember, turn off the TV.
And turn up the music.
Intro and exit music by the band 99%. Today's show was produced and edited by Jim Thatcher. Jim and Mike Talk Music is recorded at Did You Say
7
Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find Jim and Mike Talk Music on Apple Music, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The songs Mr. Smith by Nomad, Jazz Hole by Blue Wave Theory, The Planet by R Frequency, and Ketchup Sally by Scott Holmes Music, used with royalty-free permission. Today's celebrity impersonations were by Jim Thatcher.